The Champions League is back, and it's time to know which teams will advance to the semi-finals. Hello everyone, welcome back to Free Kick. I hope you are doing well. To all the football lovers, make yourself at home because you are at the right place. The Champions League quarter-finals start tonight, and each match will be very interesting to watch. These predictions by Opta analysts seem accurate to me. As we speak, Barcelona and PSG seem to be the favorites, and this is not a surprise. I have my own predictions to give you today, and I will start by PSG versus Aston Villa. PSG is in a very good place right now. They are currently first in the French Ligue 1, and they even celebrated their title in advance since they are 22 points clear of Marseille, that is the second. Overall, the team is also in a very good shape and won its last 5 matches. And we can also say that PSG became the sensation of this UCL by knocking out the biggest contender of this competition, which was Liverpool. The key PSG players that Aston Villa will have to be careful of are Donnarumma, the goalkeeper, but that is if they ever go to the penalties with Paris. Then we can also mention Pacho and Hakimi. They are great defenders. Doué, Kvaratskhelia and Vitinha in the midfield. That does an amazing job. But most of all, I think Aston Villa will have to be very careful of Ousmane Dembele. He is PSG's best player currently, and he scores the most goals for the team and is now a serious contender for the Ballon d'Or. But Aston Villa can also surprise PSG. Villa is currently at the 6th position in the English Premier League and is still competing for the top 4. Villa is also in a great form and won its 5 last matches, especially the one against Nottingham Forest, that's currently 3rd of the league, and that is a great thing because it shows just how much this team has to offer. Aston Villa also has its set of players that PSG should be wary of. Martinez, for instance, their goalkeeper that no one presents, and players like Watkins in the attack combined with Rodgers and Asensio. Both PSG and Aston Villa are similar in their playing styles, and this match will be all about controlling the possession and being in movement most of the time for both teams and using quick transitions to get the best out of their games. These statistics show how much both teams like to have possession. PSG a little more than Aston Villa, but it is with possession that they are both able to deploy their playing styles. Both teams also score numerous goals on average, but PSG scores more than Aston Villa with 2.9 goals scored per match, compared to 1.5 for Aston Villa. And as for the goals conceded, Aston Villa concedes 1.5 goals on average and PSG concedes 0.9. My prediction for this match will be simple. During the first leg, I see PSG winning 1-0. Then during the second leg, when Paris will have to go to Villa to play, I see a draw between both teams, which would make it an aggregate of 2-1 in favor of Paris, and Paris goes through. Now let's talk about the second match. Barcelona versus Dortmund. I believe that this match is the most unbalanced, and I will explain why. But first of all, let's focus on the teams. Barcelona is currently doing great. They are standing first in La Liga and are 4 points clear of Real Madrid. They had a frustrating result last Saturday against Real Betis, but I strongly believe that this had to do with the fatigue, seeing the number of matches they had to play all together and only in the space of 1 week and a half. Still, Barcelona remains in great form. The team managed to win all of its matches, all of those they had to play before meeting Real Betis. Barcelona has key players that Dortmund should be wary of, but I think I should mention everybody in the team because they are all fantastic. From Kubarsi to Koundé, to Pedri the midfield magician, and even Ferran Torres and Lamine Yamal should be mentioned. Especially Lamine, because what he's doing currently at 17 is just impressive. But one thing is for certain. A man is catching all the attention, and that's Rafinha. The Brazilian just transformed under Hansi Flick, and he is even among the Ballon d'Or contenders this year. Rafinha scored the most UCL goals for Barcelona, 11 goals in total, and he is also the player that scored the most UCL goals since the beginning of the UCL campaign. It is now time to mention Barcelona's competition, Dortmund. Unfortunately, Dortmund is not doing so well. The team is 8th in Bundesliga and is struggling. Let's only say that their form could be better than this. The club is also in what we can call a crisis and has changed coaches 3 times in not even the space of 1 year. There is a new coach now that took over Nuri Sahin. It's Niko Kovac, and he's trying to build a new identity for the team. The key Dortmund players to pay attention to are Gross, Emre Can, Maximilian Bayer, and Karim Adeyemi. Nico Schlotterbeck is also among them. He is a very important element these days. But their main man remains Serhou Guirassy. Guirassy is their new striker, and he's always there to bail the team out of messy situations when they need goals. This match will be all about possession, pressing, and finishing. Finishing for Dortmund especially, because it is a team that has many problems in that area. And the pressing will be for both teams. Ultimately, it will be way too dangerous for Dortmund to watch Barcelona press and do nothing. As for the possession, I see Barcelona taking it fully, and they will make a good use of it. On average, both of these teams like possession. Barcelona has it 68.2% of the time, while Dortmund has it 60.3% of the time. But I believe it is Barcelona that will take control of the possession. When it comes to the number of goals scored per match by both of these teams, we have 1.9 goals scored per match on average for Dortmund, while we have in comparison 2.8 for Barcelona. Meanwhile, Dortmund concedes 1.5 goals on average, and Barcelona only 1 in comparison. Now I will give my prediction on how that match will turn out. I believe that the first leg in Spain will be won by Barcelona with a frank score of 3-1. Then the second leg in Germany would also be won by Barcelona, but with a narrow margin of 2-1. And Barcelona will be able to go through with an aggregate of 5-2. The third match we will discuss is the Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan match. The last time Inter Milan faced Bayern Munich, it was in 2010 during the UCL final, and the final was won by Inter Milan. Now both of these teams meet again, and Bayern Munich will hope for a revenge. Speaking of Bayern Munich, the team is in great shape these days. They are 6 points clear of their rival Bayer Leverkusen and are first and nearly champions of Germany. They struggled during their last match against Augsburg, but they were finally able to win. However, they lost Jamal Musiala on the process. Their last 5 matches are made of 1 draw, a defeat and 3 wins, and they are managing as they can to win as much matches as possible. The key Bayern Munich players that Inter Milan will have to be wary of are Kimmich, Olise, Sané and Harry Kane, but mostly Michael Olise because he is one of the most important elements in this team. If Musiala is not here, he will surely step up and do his best. Bayern Munich's competition, Inter Milan, is also a team to fear. They are first in Serie A with 68 points and also have a chance to become champions of Italy. When we take a look at the form of the team, we can say that everything is going well. Their 5 last matches are made of 3 victories and 2 draws, but they are not as significant as they seem. Key Inter Milan players that Bayern Munich will have to be wary of are Bastoni, Jan Sommer, the goalkeeper, that's absolutely fantastic, Martinez, Thuram, Çalhanoğlu, and Di Marco, but especially the Martinez/Thuram duo. These guys are fantastic combined together. They play so well, they score many goals, and they have fun in Serie A. They could become Bayern Munich's nightmare. This game overall will be all about possession once again, intensity and finishing. Finishing clinically will be very important for both teams during this game because every goal will count. And Bayern Munich will have to add intensity to its game because Italians will attack and it will come very strong. As for the possession, the team that will be able to control it will surely dominate the other one. Both Inter Milan and Bayern Munich like possession, but Bayern Munich has the habit of having it a little more than Inter Milan has. On average, Bayern Munich has 69.3% of the possession compared to 59.5% for Inter Milan. Both of these teams also score often. Inter Milan, for instance, scores 2.2 goals per match on average. In comparison, Bayern Munich scores 2.9 on average. But in terms of goals conceded, both teams are even. Both Bayern Munich and Inter Milan only concede 1 goal per match on average. It is now time for me to give my prediction on how that match could turn out. I see both of these teams draw during the first leg in Germany. However, during the second leg in Italy, I see Inter Milan qualify against Bayern Munich with an aggregate of 4-3, and I believe the difference will be made in the key elements that Bayern has missing, like Musiala or even Alphonso Davies, that is out until the end of the season. And finally, the last match we will discuss is Arsenal versus Real Madrid. This is the match that I believe will be the most exciting to watch. On one side, we have the Premier League team Arsenal that's currently on the second place in Premier League standings. Arsenal has been dreaming of the domestic title for now a very long time, but somehow these past 2 years they only ended up second, and I think they will also end up second this year as well. Their last match against Everton was a draw, and this result did not help them at all in their quest for the title since they dropped points. In addition, the team's form is not that great. Their last 3 matches are made of 2 victories and 3 draws. And that is due to major injury problems within the squad. Kai Havertz is out until the end of the season, and they just lost Gabriel, a very important element of their team. But their goalkeeper, David Raya, is still here and is doing everything he can to stand on business. Lewis Kelly is always there, Saliba as well. Merino and Rice are doing their job very well in the midfield, and Nwaneri and Trossard are helping each other in the attack. But the most important element of the team is back from injury, and it is that young man, Bukayo Saka. Saka represents a central element in this team, and he's extremely important, and his return could be disturbing to Real Madrid. Speaking of Real Madrid, they will face Arsenal, and I believe they are not ready, but they just have something magic that activates as soon as they play in the Champions League. It is their competition, so I hope they can wake up and be brilliant. For now, Real Madrid stands at the second position behind Barcelona in La Liga, and they are still fighting for the title. Their last match against Valencia at the Bernabeu was disastrous and ended up in a disgraceful defeat. And their form is not so great. 2 victories, 1 draw, and 2 defeats during their last 5 matches, which is absolutely not enough for a team of Real Madrid's caliber. The key elements will be the defenders, especially Rudiger, since he will lead the defense, as well as Thibaut Courtois in the goal. All the midfielders we can involve can also be very important for this match, from Bellingham to Valverde to Modric, and the attack is also an element that will be under scrutiny because we need goals. So Mbappe, Vini, Rodrigo, please be clinical. And Jude, crash into the box as soon as it is necessary, please. Tchouaméni is suspended, so he will not take part in the match. As for Dani Ceballos, he is not fully ready to play, so he may most likely be starting for the second leg next week. This match will be all about experience from Real Madrid's side because we have no playing style and we only rely most of the time on individual brilliance, so experience will be key. Possession as well. It is very important to take it into account because it can enable us to create more chances. The finishing, of course, will be key because every goal will count, just like for the Inter Milan versus Bayern Munich game. When you take a look at some statistics, you can see that Real Madrid scores 2.1 goals per match on average. Meanwhile, Arsenal scores 1.8 goals on average per match. So Real Madrid scores more than Arsenal. However, Real Madrid also concedes more than Arsenal. Arsenal concedes on average 0.8 goals. Meanwhile, Real Madrid concedes 1 goal on average per match. It is now time for me to give you my last prediction of this video. This is how I believe this match will turn out. For the first leg in England, I see a draw between Arsenal and Real Madrid, something like 2-2. And then during the second leg at the Bernabeu, I see Arsenal losing to Real Madrid 2-1. This would qualify Real Madrid with an aggregate of 4-3. That was all for my Champions League predictions for the semi-finals. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you next time.